was originally written by Robert Johnson, the original blues legend. This is an example of a 12-bar blues in E, and it's also part of a whole bunch of songs I'm using in my beginner's course to show you how to play this B7 and give you lots of different genres that kind of use it. In this song, we've already done, in this course, a 12-bar blues in E, which was Before You Accuse Me. That was our song example of an introduction to a 12-bar blues in E. And in this lesson, we're going to be covering how to swap the E and the A chords for the blues riff that we learnt in Heartbreak Hotel. We're going to apply it to this musical situation as well, and it sounds great. I'm not going to be covering the intro in the lesson, though I will tab it out on my website and put it next to the chord sequence, which I will write for you, as I say, all in my website. You can view the link in the description below. Okay, so from the top, we start off with our E major chord. So hopefully you're already familiar with your 12-bar blues chord sequence, but if not, it starts on an E. And we're not going to play the full E chord, we're just going to play the thickest E string and then the A string, so string 6 and string 5. Because we're just playing those two strings, then there's not really any need for us to have 3 fingers down, because we're only really pressing down your middle finger. So we'll lift the other two off, keep your middle finger down, but if we keep that middle finger down, we can't really use the other fingers and play riffs with them, play over single notes. So we're going to swap your middle finger for your first finger, and we're going to put your first finger down in its place. So first finger is now at 2nd fret of the 5th string, and it's playing a B note. If we play those two together, that sounds exactly the same as when I was playing a full E before, but just playing the two thickest strings. But this means that my third finger can play the 4th fret of that 5th string, 4th fret of the A string, which is a C sharp note, and we can play this riff. We're going to play your first chord, just the normal E chord, twice, 1 and then on 2 and, you can stay with your third finger down, or you can vary that with 1 and 2 and. You can come back to your first finger. The first one sounds like this, and this is probably the easier version of it, and this will sound absolutely spot on appropriate for this song. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. First finger, third. First, third. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just to reiterate, 1 bar of this riff would sound like 1, 2, 3, 4. And you're essentially placing each finger down on the beat. You're putting them down at the same time as the beat happens. First finger is always down for beat 1, and then you can always check that you're right. For your A chord, we simply just move this riff down a string. So we move your first finger down a string 4. Your third finger will go down the string 4 as well, and we only play string 5 and 4. We don't play your thickest E string, so you've got to be quite careful with this picking hand at this sort of level where you're playing single string riffs. If you hit the wrong strings, it doesn't matter what you do with this hand, it's not going to sound right. That's the kind of ear what we're going for. This is quite a fast song that uses this riff. If you struggle, you can always take it back to Before You Accuse Me, the Eric Clapton version from the Unplugged album, which is the song I always divert back to with my beginner students, because it's kind of the slowest example, but that's still got a bit of a bounce to it, a bit of a groove to it. It's not very, very slow, you know, it's still quite up-tempo. But that's a great way into this idea. If you haven't covered it yet, definitely do. But to cover this riff, same again. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So let's have a close-up on this riff now, just in case you need a little bit more help with it. Okay, so here we are for a close-up on your blues riff, remembering that this one is a substitution for your E major chord. So where your middle finger is on an E major chord, we're putting your first finger in place of that and just playing the thickest E string, the 6th string, and string 5. We're playing these together as one, and then we're placing your third finger down on the 3rd and 4th hit. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So 2nd fret and 4th fret, both on the 5th string, and this sounds as a substitution for your E major chord when you're just playing the thickest 2 strings. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Remember, we're playing this with swing, so you don't want to keep them all even. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. That's for a more rock and roll orientated blues riff, and this one is for a kind of old school Muddy Waters sounds with a bit of a bounce to it. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. To play over your A chord with the same riff, we move everything down 1 string to string 5 and 4, so your first finger moves down to string 4, your third finger would also move down to string 4, and therefore we've got an open A string, and if we just play it with your first finger down, that is an A power chord, otherwise known as an A5, and we're going to then place your third finger down in the same pattern, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and to move between these two, you just basically slide as close as you can, keep as close as you can, rather than lifting your first finger off like this and placing it down when they're right next to each other. Just slip it up, slip it down. For example, E to an A, and then straight back up. That's how we'll get a smooth change between them. To neaten up the picking side and to make it sound a little bit authentic, what we're going to do here is palm mute very slightly. We're going to have the outside of your hand hitting the bridge right here, resting on it, and you want to go for the sound of it really. So pick, 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 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, keeping your hand resting down the entire time, but remembering when you go for the A, we're not hitting string 6 and 5, we're hitting 5 and 4. This is my A, and back to an E. Really makes a difference, because if you go for the E, and you're still really hitting this thickest E string, it's not going to sound great. And if we just go from one to the other without any palm muting, it doesn't sound that kind of authentic sound that we're going for. A little bit of palm muting, just lightly, really works a treat. Okay, so let's have a go at playing this song. Let's go from the top. I will count you in, play along to me, starting with your E riff. In, nice and slow, in 1, 2, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and 1 and 2 and 3 to an A, slip down a string, back to an E, change into 3, 4, A, second line, baby don't you want, back to E. Now to your open chords, a B7, A, and an E. Finally B7, 1 and 2 and 3, and come on. Palm muting again, remember, to an A. Very slightly palm muting makes all the difference. Just the thicker strings. Come on. Baby, don't you wanna go? B7 open chords. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. E nearly there. Okie dokie, so try and keep that going yourself. Do play along to the record when you can get up to that sort of speed. If you struggle with the speed, play over Before You Accuse Me or any slightly slower 12-bar blues in E. There are lots of them. If you can play it, can't play it up to the record of Sweet Home Chicago, but you like the song, just play open chords with that palm muting in the same manner we've already covered, and it will sound fine along to the song. I just wanted to cover the blues riff pattern with you. Thanks for watching. I hope you liked this video. Please like and subscribe if you like it, and check out the other videos on my website, andyguitar.co.uk. It's all available for free, a full beginner's course laid out for you, and I hope to see you again. Okay, so that's how we play your riff over the E and the A chord. We're not going to play this riff over the B7 chord, we're just going to play your standard B7 chord, and in fact I would keep the last 4 bars of your 12-bar blues in E exactly the same. Just stick to the open chords that you've already been doing. The B riff would be a much trickier kind of fingering position. It's a bit of a stretch however you do it, whether you do it 2nd fret of the 5th string or 7th fret of the 6th string. Whichever way we do this riff, it's not really appropriate for this level of my beginner's course, so we're going to bypass it for now and just keep to the open B7 bluesy chord. Excuse me. Okay, so let's put this together and play your open blues riff for the first 8 bars of this 12-bar blues sequence, and then for the last 4 bars we're just going to stick to the open chords that we've already been doing. Let's have a go at that. Play along to me now and start from your E riff in 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, straight down to an A and back to E. To an A, back to an E. Okay, that's the last part of the riff. We're going to go to a B7 chord, just strum normally, 2 and 3 and 4 and A, and 2, 3